wonderful song. And they sent it to me with Jonathan singing it, and my husband, John Patrick Lowry, who is a wonderful musician, notated it for me. And you know about this. He sat down and he listened to the recording of Jonathan Colton sing it, and he wrote it down in musical notation for me so that I didn't have to memorize the whole thing. I could just read it off the page, which is so much easier, so much easier. And we recorded the song in the studio, and it was just such a great song. And Jonathan Colton is so clever and so funny. And we've all, myself and Jonathan and everybody at Valve, was so gratified that people enjoyed that song. So when Portal 2 came along, it was like, well, we have to have Jonathan write another song. He's got to do that. And because they knew, the folks at Valve knew that everyone would expect a song, they had to do something in addition. And that's how Mike Moraski, he was writing music. So I recorded a lot of vocal music for the game, and it's kind of odd how there's sort of the one little piece called GLaDOS Lament, etc. I recorded a lot of music, and they weren't sure yet where it would be used. And I recorded what they call now the turret opera, and it was actually artists at Valve who had the idea. You know, there's an expression in baseball, it isn't over until the fat lady sings. And of course that's an allusion to opera. Well, I'm an opera singer, and I am a little bit hefty. So the game couldn't be over until the fat lady sang. So that's why they call her the turret wife. And the turret wife, because she looks the most like an operatic soprano, got to sing the song. And it was the artist, because the artist liked all the turrets. And they felt like the turrets sort of, didn't get their moment in the sun. So they created this turret chorus, and I sang all the parts. And of course, because of technological wizardry, I even sang the bass line, I sang the tenor line, I sang the alto line, I sang the solo line. And they just sort of moved everything around so that all the turrets are singing in my voice. It's all my voice. And when I first saw it at the Portal 2 release party, Bill Van Buren, who is a producer at Valve, and he's the main producer on the Portal games, took my husband and me back into his office, and he has a great big screen on his computer, and he pulled up that place on the game, and he played the turret opera for John and me. And I started to cry, because it's like, well, this is the sweetest thing I've ever seen. But when we were in the studio, I did all the recordings on a lot of different syllables. Do, va, 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 la, 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 different consonants and different vowel combinations. And then Mike said, well, can you just make up some words? And I said, sure. So I made up words in my very bad high school Italian, because I studied Italian when I was in high school. And I have to say that Mike and I have decided that we are not going to divulge exactly what I said, because we love all the creativity. On the internet, the translations are close or not so close, but none of them have been absolutely correct. But it was, because Mike Moraski told me in the recording session, he said, this is the goodbye. This is the goodbye to the player. So, hence, this is the goodbye to Cell. So I just started making up words in Italian. So, that's a lot. with all that, I'll take questions now. Do you all have questions? Yes, sir. Say that again. Yes, I did. Oh, yes. I did. Yes. Because that was, you know, you will probably explain that better than I. You asked, did I do the voice clips, the GLaDOS voice clips for the indie games? Yes, I spent a long time in the studio doing that. Well, the writers of those independent games wrote that copy. But I will say that Eric Wolpaw and Jay Pinkerton, you know, worked with it a little bit. They, you know, it's like, well, no, this is too much. We can't have her record 10 pages. You know, so they would cut things down. But yeah, so the indie game writers created the copy that I recorded. So yeah, oh yeah, that's me. It's all me. Yes, sir.
So like in that same area, just how was it? What was it like to be working with all the other indie companies, like to create that really big, encompassing experience for all the various players? Like the GLaDOS voice or secret messages, voices.
Well, the thing was, is I was in the studio with the same people. I was still in the studio with Bill Van Buren and Eric Wolpaw and Chet Polasek and Jay Pinkerton. It was the same people in the studio with me. The people I worked with were Bill, the producer, and the writers. And then, of course, Jonathan Colton, when I was recording his song, and Mike Moraski, when I was recording his music. So I didn't actually meet some of the independent game people until the Portal 2 release party. But I did meet some of them then, but I didn't work directly with them. Yes, right back there.
Favorite recording?
What was your favorite recording phrase?
Favorite phrase?
Well, my favorite phrase is, killing you and giving you good advice aren't mutually exclusive. And I say that to my husband all the time. Because he never listens to my advice, and I know that I'm always right, but he doesn't listen to me. So that is my favorite phrase, because I think it's so true. I mean, you could kill somebody and give them good advice at the same time. It's possible. Yes, Lithuania.
Will we finally get our cake? Okay, say it again. Will we finally get our cake?
Will you find singular cake?
Will we finally get our cake?
Just walk up front and say it. Go up to the microphone.
No. Listen, everybody knows the cake is a lie. Everybody knows that. And you, sir?
So I have these lemons, and I'm not sure what to do with them.
And what are you planning to do with them?
Well, this man gave me great advice. He told me that I should give the lemons back. Dave Johnson lemons.
Well, you know about J.K. Simmons and Stephen Merchant. Of course, Stephen Merchant recorded everything in London. And the Valve guys went to London. And I'm not sure where J.K. Simmons recorded everything. I assume L.A. But for each of us, they played Stephen Merchant for me. They played J.K. Simmons for me when I was recording in the studio in Seattle. And I am told, by Bill and the other fellas, that they played me for Stephen Merchant in London. And, whoever you were talking to, they played clips so that each actor could actually hear the voice of who they would be responding to. So they did do it that way.